To Daniel and Chloe, Grandma Helen said, her voice clear, stronger than I'd heard it in months, who saw malice and didn't look away. Who acted when everyone else would have stayed quiet. Who saved my life and gave me these extra years. I heard the words, felt Chloe's hand tighten on my arm, and looked around the small, quiet room. 20 people, family, close friends. No flashing lights. No sirens. No police. Just the gentle clinking of glasses. This was Grandma's 86th birthday, a year after the last one had almost been her last day on Earth. And sitting there, listening to her, all I could think was, how did we even get here? It all began the year before. At her 85th, Chloe's hand clamped around my wrist so hard it hurt. It wasn't a casual touch, it was a panic grip, a desperate plea without words. We were standing in Grandma Helen's living room, packed with maybe 40 people, far too many for a house built for 15. It was supposed to be a celebration, but Chloe's face was white, her breathing shallow and fast. Bathroom, she whispered, her eyes wide. Now. I followed her down the hall, confused, into the small guest bathroom. She locked the door behind us, her hands shaking as she turned the latch. Daniel, we need to leave right now. Don't ask questions. Don't make a scene. Just get our coats and walk out. I'd been married to Chloe for 6 years. She wasn't the panicking type. But in that moment, she looked absolutely terrified. What happened? I asked, my voice low. She took a shaky breath. I went looking for the bathroom. The main one was occupied. Someone said there was another one near the office. I walked down the back hall and I saw something. She pulled out her phone, her thumb already poised, and showed me a photo. She'd taken it through a cracked door, a medication schedule taped inside a cabinet. Handwritten, in neat cursive. Zolpidem was listed, with times and doses. A bedtime dose, sure. But then additional entries, marked as needed for agitation, with times like 9 a.m. calm, 3 p.m. rest, 9 p.m. settle. Multiple entries, every single day. Today's date at the top, tomorrow's below, a whole week planned out. Whose handwriting is that? Chloe asked, her voice barely a whisper. I leaned closer, a cold dread starting to form. I recognized it. That's Sharon's, I said. Robert's wife. We all called her Aunt Sharon, even though she married into the family. Chloe swiped to the next photo. Taken fast, from the doorway. A desk covered in papers. Document headers visible, quitclaim deed. Power of attorney. Last will and testament. All dated within the last 2 weeks. And, chillingly, a pill bottle on the edge of the frame. Label partially visible. Zolpidem, prescribed to Helen Miller. Filled just 4 days ago. Where did you see this? I asked, the words feeling thick in my throat. The office door was cracked, she explained. They'd been in and out of it all day, getting things ready. Printer running, documents stacked. Like they were so used to controlling the house, they didn't even think to hide it. I was just looking for the bathroom and I could see inside. Sharon was in there with Brittany. They were talking about signatures and timing and making sure everything was ready for tonight. I took the photos quick and left before they saw me. Robert, my dad's older brother, was an insurance claims adjuster. He'd been helping take care of Grandma Helen for the past 3 years since Grandpa passed. Sharon was his wife, and Brittany was their daughter. They lived with them. They were, supposedly, the responsible ones. I stared at the photos, trying to rationalize it. Chloe, maybe it's legitimate estate planning. She grabbed my shoulders, her eyes locking onto mine. Where's your grandmother right now? I thought about it. I'd walked through the whole house when we arrived. I hadn't seen Grandma anywhere. Robert had said she was resting, that the party was too much for her. She's 85. If she gets tired. Chloe didn't let me finish. She showed me another detail. She'd zoomed in on the pill bottle label. Directions partially visible: take 1 tablet by mouth at bedtime. Filled November 20th. Today was November 24th, a Sunday night. 4 days. But the schedule showed bedtime doses plus multiple additional entries marked as needed for agitation. I heard Sharon telling Brittany to give her the second dose before anyone tries to check on her, Chloe said. Her voice was steady now, chillingly so. Daniel, they're overdosing her tonight at this party. With all these witnesses around, so it looks like natural causes. We need to check on her, I said, already turning for the door. 2 minutes, Chloe told me, her hand still on my arm. You get 2 minutes to verify. If you're not back, I'm calling 911 from the car. I opened the bathroom door, walked down the hallway toward the back of the house. 3 bedrooms were back there: Grandma's room, the guest room, the office. Sharon appeared in the hallway, already smiling. Daniel, she said, her voice falsely sweet, looking for something? Just checking on Grandma, I replied, trying to sound casual. Haven't seen her yet. Oh, she's sleeping, sweetie. The party was overwhelming for her. Robert gave her something to help her rest. She tried to step past me, but moved just enough to block the hallway. I'd like to see her, just for a minute. Sharon's smile didn't waver. She's fine. Doctor's orders to let her sleep when she needs it. You know how she's been lately. So confused. Robert's been such a saint managing everything. When did the doctor say that? I pushed. Oh, you know, her regular checkups. Dr. Chen has been so concerned about her cognitive decline. We're all just trying to keep her comfortable. I heard movement behind me, turned. Robert was walking down the hall. Big guy, 6 feet 2 inches. He smiled when he saw me. Hey, Daniel. Everything all right? Just wanted to check on Grandma. Mom's resting. Had to give her medication early. She was getting agitated. I tried again. Maybe I should just peek in. She's fine, Robert said, his voice now with an edge. Sharon's keeping her calm. That's what the doctor said. Back off, Daniel. 3 people now stood between me and that bedroom door: Sharon, Robert, Brittany. I walked back toward the living room. Chloe was near the front door. I caught her eye. She saw my face and knew. But I wasn't leaving yet. Not without making this public. I stopped in the middle of the living room, raised my voice just enough so it would carry. Hey, Uncle Robert. Before we go, I'd like to see Grandma Helen real quick, just to wish her happy birthday. Conversations nearby stopped. People turned, listened. Robert came out of the hallway, his face tight. She's sleeping, Daniel. Maybe later. It's her birthday, I said, my voice louder now. I drove an hour to be here. I'd like to see her for 30 seconds. More people were listening now. My dad, Aunt Susan, cousins, all watching. Sharon appeared next to Robert. Soft voice, concerned face. Daniel, honey, she really needs her rest. The doctor was very clear. When she gets overstimulated, it makes the confusion worse. I'm not leaving until I see her. Robert's smile tightened, his eyes narrowed. Daniel, you're making a scene. I just want to see my grandmother. My dad, Michael, stepped forward. What's going on? Nothing, Robert said quickly. Daniel's just concerned about Mom, but she's fine. She's resting. Dad looked at me, then at Robert, then back at me, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Chloe touched my arm. We should go, she said quietly. We grabbed our coats, walked to the front door. Aunt Susan stopped us. Leaving already? Chloe's not feeling well, I lied. Migraine. We walked out, got in the car. Chloe locked the doors, started the engine. You just made them very nervous, she said, a faint smile on her lips. Good. Now, everyone heard me ask. Everyone heard them refuse. She drove 2 blocks, pulled into a gas station parking lot. She pulled up her phone, showed me one more photo I hadn't seen. A calendar page, November 24th, circled in red. Notes in the margin, in Sharon's handwriting, final signature. Transfer Monday. Close remaining accounts Tuesday. First thing Monday, I said, a sickening realization dawning on me. They walk into the bank with power of attorney and start moving money. Chloe nodded. If Grandma signs tonight, if something happens to her tonight, they walk in Monday morning and take everything. My hand was shaking when I pulled out my phone. My screen read 7:49. I hit call, dialed 911. The dispatcher answered, 911. What's your emergency? I need to report suspected elder mistreatment and a possible overdose in progress. My grandmother. I think my uncle and his wife are harming her. What's the address, sir? I gave her Grandma Helen's address. The dispatcher's voice changed, became more urgent. Can you describe what you observed? My wife found medication schedules showing doses that don't match the prescription. Documents showing recent asset transfers. When I tried to check on my grandmother at her own birthday party, I was blocked by 3 family members and refused access in front of witnesses. Are you at the location now? No, we left. We're 2 blocks away. Officers are being dispatched. Estimated time of arrival 14 minutes. I need you to stay on the line. Do not return to the residence. Can you meet officers at the corner? We drove back and parked at the corner like the dispatcher said. We watched the house. Nobody inside knew what was coming. My phone buzzed. Text from my dad, *, you guys okay? Susan said Chloe wasn't feeling well, *, I didn't respond. 2 police cruisers turned onto the street at 8:03. No lights, no sirens. 4 officers got out. 2 approached the front door. 2 went around back. Here we go, Chloe whispered. The front door opened. Aunt Susan stood there, looking confused. An officer showed his badge, started talking. Susan stepped back, let them inside. The music cut off. Then one of the officers came back out fast, spoke into his radio, ran back inside. Chloe grabbed my hand. 3 minutes later, an ambulance arrived. Lights flashing. Paramedics grabbed equipment and ran inside. More police arrived. Family members started coming out of the house. My parents came out. Dad looked lost. Through the open front door, I could see movement. Hear raised voices. Then Robert appeared in the doorway, blocking it. Hand on the doorframe, talking to someone inside. She's fine, his voice carried. She's sleeping. I'll take her to our family doctor tomorrow. A paramedic's voice, firm. Sir, we need to assess her. Police requested a welfare check. I have power of attorney. She doesn't need an ambulance. Robert didn't move. A paramedic tried to step past him. Robert shifted. Blocked him. Dad was suddenly moving. Walking toward the house fast. Mom grabbed my arm. Come on, she said. We followed Dad. He pushed past Robert into the house. Robert tried to block him. Michael, this is ridiculous. Get out of my way, Dad said, his voice flat. Inside, 2 paramedics were at the hallway. Sharon stood between them and the back bedroom. That same calm smile, one hand out. Gentlemen, she's resting comfortably. This is all a misunderstanding. Ma'am, step aside, one of the paramedics said. Sharon touched his arm lightly. I really think. Do not touch me, he said sharply. Step back, now. Sharon's hand dropped. Her smile flickered. Dad stepped around her. Opened Grandma Helen's bedroom door. My God, he said. The paramedics moved past Sharon into the room. Robert tried to follow. An officer blocked him. Sir, stay here. That's my mother. And these are paramedics doing their job. At 8:26, the paramedics came out with a stretcher, someone small on it. Oxygen mask, for running. Grandma Helen. A detective pulled up as they loaded her into the ambulance. A woman in plain clothes, 50s, got out and went straight inside. I was out of the car, running. An officer caught me. Sir, step back. That's my grandmother. You Daniel Miller? Yes. You called this in. Detective Hayes needs to talk to you inside. Dad was suddenly next to me. What's going on? What happened to Mom? The officer looked at him. Are you Michael Miller? Yes, that's my mother. What's happening? She's being transported to City Memorial. Possible overdose. Detective Hayes will explain. Overdose? Dad's face went white. That's impossible. Robert takes care of her medication. The officer didn't respond, just led me toward the house. Dad grabbed my arm. Daniel, what did you do? I called the police. You should come inside. You what? Mom appeared on Dad's other side. Michael, let him go. Something's wrong, and we need to find out what. Inside, the living room was empty except for officers, the detective, and Robert standing near the fireplace, his face red. When he saw me, his expression went from shock to rage. You called the police, he snarled. On your own family? Detective Hayes stepped between us, her name tag confirming her identity. Mr. Robert Miller, step back. And you're Daniel Miller? Yes. Come with me. She led me to the office. Papers everywhere, documents in stacks, laptop open, file folders labeled and organized. Walk me through it, Hayes said. I told her about the schedule Chloe found, the blocked hallway, the public refusal in front of witnesses. Where's your wife? Outside. She took the photos. I'll need her statement. Hayes pulled out her phone. Showed me a photo of the pill bottle. Zolpidem, prescribed to Helen Miller. Filled November 20th, 30 tablets. The bottle is empty, Hayes said. And one of my officers checked the guest bathroom. There's residue in the trap. Looks like someone crushed pills and rinsed the powder. 30 tablets gone in 4 days. Your grandmother was found heavily sedated, barely responsive, slurred speech, respiratory depression. The paramedics said her breathing was dangerously slow. Hayes pointed to the documents on the desk. Quick claim deed dated November 18th, power of attorney dated November 12th. New will dated November 15th. All signed with Helen Miller's signature. And something else. A comfort care directive packet, half filled out. Language about declining intervention. A hospice intake form with contact information written in the margins. That's not her signature, I said. The letters are too shaky. The spacing is wrong. We'll need handwriting analysis to confirm, but I agree. She put the documents in evidence bags. Based on the timeline and the medication levels, tonight was meant to be the end point. And these, she tapped the hospice forms, suggest they were preparing for reduced medical intervention if she deteriorated. You mean they were trying to end her life? I mean that level of sedation in an 85-year-old woman with probable existing health conditions creates a high probability of respiratory failure. Whether that was intended or accepted as a likely outcome, that's for the prosecutor to determine. How much are we talking about? Money. Hayes flipped through the most recent bank statements. This is bad. Savings is down to about $12,000. Checking is under $2,000. The investment account has been mostly liquidated. There's around $71,000 left. She tapped a transaction list. These withdrawals and wire transfers have been happening for months. She nodded toward the rest of the documents. The real value is in the property, the house, and the orange rental. That's what they were trying to grab next. She pointed to the calendar. Monday morning, they clean out whatever cash is left. Tuesday, they push the house sale and start moves on the rental. After that, your grandmother is either in a state facility or she doesn't make it. There was shouting outside. Robert yelling, Sharon's voice trying to calm him down. Hayes stood. Let's go. We walked out onto the front lawn. The whole family was there now. Dad near the street, Mom next to him, Aunt Susan crying, cousins clustered together, neighbors on porches watching. Robert stood in the middle, arguing with two officers, Sharon next to him, too calm, with rehearsed concern. This is a misunderstanding, Robert was saying. I'm her son. I have power of attorney. These are legitimate estate planning documents. Sir, your mother was found with dangerous levels of sedation. If taken as directed, that bottle should still have most of the tablets left. It's empty. She must have gotten confused. Taken extra. That's why we need the POA. She can't manage her medications safely anymore. Mom stepped forward. When did Helen become confused, Robert? He turned, looked at her. Claire, this isn't your business. When? Mom repeated. Because last month at Thanksgiving, she was sharp. She beat Michael at Scrabble. She told me stories about her childhood I'd never heard before. She has good days and bad days. Mom pulled out her phone. I have a voice message from her from 3 days ago. She called to ask about my lasagna recipe. She was completely coherent. Want to hear it? Robert's face went redder. That doesn't prove anything. Detective Hayes interrupted. Brittany Miller, where is she? An officer brought Brittany out. She was crying, hands cuffed behind her back. Dad, she said. Dad, tell them. Tell them we were just helping Grandma. Shut up. Robert said, a raw fury in his voice. You said she wouldn't remember. You said it was temporary. You said, shut up right now. The family went silent. 43 people, hearing Brittany panic and Robert telling her to stop talking. Mom walked up to Sharon. I want to hear from you. You organized all this, didn't you? Sharon's expression didn't change. Slight confusion. Concern. I don't know what you mean, Claire. We've been taking care of Helen. It's been exhausting. The medication schedule, Mom said. That's your handwriting. The calendar with the transfer dates. That's your planning. Those are caregiving notes, dosage times, appointment reminders. Marked as calm and rest and settle, Mom said, her voice rising. Multiple doses per day disguised as agitation management for a medication prescribed once at bedtime. Sharon smiled, soft, sympathetic. Claire, you've never been a caregiver. You don't understand how complicated it gets. Sometimes adjustments need to be made for the patient's comfort. Comfort? Mom said, disbelief lacing her voice. You were sedating her into a coma. That's a terrible accusation. Detective Hayes interrupted. Sharon Miller, I'm going to need you to come down to the station for questioning. We have photographs of handwritten schedules in your writing showing medication dosages that don't match prescription instruction. We have documents showing asset transfers. We have a woman in an ambulance with potentially fatal levels of sedation in her system. You can come voluntarily, or I can arrest you. Sharon looked at Robert. He looked away. I'll come voluntarily, Sharon said. I have nothing to hide. Robert Miller, Hayes said. You're under arrest for elder mistreatment, fraud, and unlawful poisoning. Additional charges will be determined after the hospital reports and the district attorney's review. You have the right to remain silent. She read him his rights. Another officer cuffed him. This is insane, he said. I'm her son. I was taking care of her. You are ending her life, Dad said quietly. Robert's eyes found mine. Pure hatred. They put him in a police car. Brittany in another. Sharon got in a third car, no cuffs on her yet. The cars drove away. The party was over. Chloe appeared next to me, put her arm around my waist. How are you? She said. I don't know. Dad walked up, stood there looking at us. You called the police on Robert? I did. You really think he was? Dad, I said, they found her almost not breathing. The pill bottle was empty. There are forged documents on the desk. What else do I need to think? Dad looked away, looked back. I just can't believe Robert would. Mom grabbed his arm. Michael, stop. Our son just saved your mother's life. Robert tried to end her life. Accept it. Dad's face crumpled. He stood there on the lawn of his childhood home, police tape across the door, his mother in an ambulance, his brother in handcuffs. I need to see her, he said. I need to get to the hospital. We'll follow you, Mom said. City Memorial, Emergency Department. They wouldn't let us see her at first. Family only, but the family member with authority was in police custody, and they didn't know who to trust. Mom handled it, showed her ID, explained the situation, got Dad credentialed as the new emergency contact. It took 2 hours. Finally, a doctor came out. 50s, tired, name tag said Rodriguez. Helen Miller's family? We stood. Me, Chloe, Mom, Dad, Aunt Susan who'd followed us. Your grandmother is stable, Rodriguez said. But I'm going to be blunt with you. Someone was poisoning her. The Zolpidem levels in her blood are consistent with roughly 18 to 20 tablets actually absorbed over the past 72 hours. That doesn't count what may have been crushed, spit out, vomited, or disposed of. That's not confusion. That's not accidental. That's systematic overdosing. How is she alive? Dad said. Luck. Good metabolism. Stubborn constitution. Another 12 hours and we'd likely be having a different conversation. Can we see her? Not yet. She's sedated. We're running a full talk screen. We're also seeing signs of malnutrition and dehydration. Whoever was caring for her wasn't caring for her. That was my brother, Dad said quietly. Rodriguez nodded. I've called Adult Protective Services. They'll be investigating, and I understand police are involved. Yes. Good. Because what I'm seeing here is attempted ending of life. He left. We sat in the waiting room. My phone buzzed. Text from Detective Hayes. Asterisk need you and your wife at the station tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. statements, asterisk I showed Chloe. She nodded. Around midnight, they let us see Grandma. One at a time, 5 minutes each. I went first. Walked into the room. She looked tiny in the hospital bed, but her eyes were open. "Daniel," she whispered. "I'm here, Grandma. They told me what happened." She tried to smile. "You and Chloe. You saved me. We just made a phone call. My own son." Her voice cracked. "Robert tried to kill me. I know. I felt it happening. The past few weeks, I couldn't think straight. Couldn't remember things. Couldn't stay awake. I thought I was fading. Thought it was cognitive decline. It was the medications. Sharon was always there, always helpful, always making sure I took my medicine." She paused. "I tried to refuse once. Told Robert the first wanted to see my own lawyer. That night, he gave me so many pills I don't remember the next 2 days. We're not going to let them hurt you anymore." She closed her eyes. Tears leaked out. My own son and his wife. They looked at me and saw money. Nothing else. Dad went in next, stayed for 10 minutes instead of 5. When he came out, his eyes were red. "She told me everything," he said, "about trying to refuse, about being forced to take pills, about signing things she couldn't read because her vision was blurred and her hands wouldn't work right." He looked at me. "You were right. Robert tried to murder her. I know. I didn't believe you. I should have believed you immediately. You believe me now. That's what matters." Mom went in last, came out looking focused. "She wants us to pursue every possible charge," Mom said. "Criminal and civil. She wants them held accountable." "Good," I said. We left the hospital around 2 a.m., drove home. Chloe and I collapsed into bed. Didn't talk. Didn't process. Just lay there until morning. The next few months were chaos. After the toxicology results came back, the DA added attempted murder to Robert's charges. Robert and Brittany were formally charged. Robert with attempted murder, elder mistreatment, fraud, forgery, poisoning, and grand theft. Brittany with conspiracy, fraud, and forgery. Sharon was questioned, but not arrested yet. She maintained that perfect concerned face. Claimed she was just helping, just following doctor's orders, just trying to keep Helen comfortable. The forensic accountants got involved. The timeline they built was devastating. Robert had been systematically draining Grandma's accounts for 19 months, forging checks, making wire transfers, selling investments. Total theft, $520,000. He'd spent it on cars, house renovations, trips to Reno, paying down his mortgage. By the time police caught him, there was maybe $85,000 left. The house sale was supposed to be the final piece. Another $420,000. That would have put the total over $900,000. But the accountants found something else. Text messages between Robert and Sharon. Not enough to prove intent clearly, but enough to show coordination. Sharon texting dosage times using euphemisms. Sharon reminding Robert to keep her calm. Sharon planning the timing of document signatures. And they found handwriting practice sheets. In Brittany's apartment, 40 pages of Grandma's signature over and over, getting better each time. Robert had coached her, told her to make it shakier, more trembling, like arthritis. The prosecution built their case slowly, methodically. Medical experts, handwriting analysts, pharmacy records, bank statements. Grandma spent 3 weeks in the hospital. Detox was brutal. Withdrawal symptoms, confusion, panic attacks. She'd been on high doses of sedatives for so long, her body had adapted. Coming off them was agony. When she finally cleared, when her mind was sharp again, the cognitive evaluation showed she was fine. No dementia, no impairment, just an 85-year-old woman who'd been drugged into near death by her own son. The family fractured. Some people believed us immediately. Mom, Aunt Susan, my cousin Sarah. They saw the evidence and accepted it. Others defended Robert, made excuses, said there must be a misunderstanding, said we were overreacting, said we destroyed the family. My Uncle Richard, Robert's younger brother, actually called me. "You know you ruined Thanksgiving," he said. "Grandma's alive because we called the police. You humiliated Robert. You got him arrested at Mom's birthday party in front of everyone. He was ending her life. That's not proven yet. Daniel, they found her nearly dead. The pill bottle was empty. There are forged documents. Maybe she was confused. Maybe Robert was just trying to help." I hung up. Blocked his number. Sharon played it perfectly for weeks. The concerned daughter-in-law, the confused helper, hadn't done anything wrong. Was just supporting her husband. Didn't understand why everyone was so upset. She tried to visit Grandma twice. Hospital staff blocked her. Police had issued a no-contact order. Then the text messages surfaced. A deleted conversation between Sharon and Brittany. Recovered from Brittany's phone during evidence collection. Dated 2 weeks before the party. Sharon, second dose at 3. Brittany, what if she refuses? Sharon, don't give her the choice. Crush them in her food. Brittany, okay. Sharon, and keep everyone away from the back hall during the party. Your dad will handle the signatures. Another exchange, from 3 days before the party. Sharon, Monday, we transfer everything. Tuesday, house closes. Wednesday, we're free. Brittany, what about Grandma Helen? Sharon, she'll be in a state facility, or she won't. Either way, it's handled. That last line. Either way, it's handled. The prosecutor charged Sharon with conspiracy to commit murder, elder mistreatment, fraud, and obstruction of justice. She was arrested at her boutique, cuffed in front of customers. That perfect mask finally cracked. She screamed, cried, said she'd been trying to help, said we were all lying. Nobody believed her anymore. Brittany took a plea deal in February. Agreed to testify against both Robert and Sharon in exchange for reduced charges, conspiracy and fraud only. No attempted murder. Recommendation for 4 years. Eligible for parole after 2. Her testimony was brutal. She described how it started. Robert complaining about Grandma's money. She described Sharon pushing questions about estate planning, suggestions about power of attorney. She described the first forged check, how scared she'd been, how Robert had told her it was temporary. She described the progression, more checks, wire transfers, investment liquidations. She described practicing the signatures, 40 pages over 6 months. Robert coaching her. And she described the medication schedule. How Sharon had researched Solpan, planned the escalation for the final week. Bedtime dose plus supplemental doses throughout the day. Brittany testified morning, afternoon, evening. Sharon said it would keep her compliant, keep her from asking questions or calling anyone for help. And if something went wrong during the party, if she just stopped breathing, it would look like natural causes. Old lady, heart attack, respiratory failure. Nobody would question it. The prosecutor asked the question, did they intend to end her life? Brittany looked at the jury. Sharon said, either way, we win. If Grandma survived, she'd be too impaired to contest anything. If she didn't survive, we'd have everything before anyone could stop us. The courtroom went silent. Robert's trial started in March. He maintained his innocence. Claimed he was just helping, just managing her affairs. Claimed the medication was prescribed. The signatures were real. The transfers were legitimate. The prosecution destroyed him. They showed the pharmacy records, the forged signatures, the spending, the texts, the medical evidence. If they'd waited another 12 hours, the doctor said, I don't think she would have survived. The jury deliberated 6 hours, found Robert guilty on all counts. Sharon's trial was 3 weeks later. She tried the concerned wife defense. The prosecution showed the texts, the medication schedule in her handwriting, the pharmacy consultation, the research on sedative overdoses on her computer, witness testimony, the calendar, Brittany's testimony. Jury deliberated 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing came in May. The courtroom was packed. Grandma Helen in the front row. The judge was a woman in her 60s, Judge Elizabeth Davis. Robert Miller, she said, you systematically drugged, mistreated, and attempted to end the life of your own mother for money. You did this over 19 months. You stole over $500,000 from her. You forged her signature 43 times. You enlisted your wife and daughter in your scheme. The state recommends 15 years. Judge Davis continued. The defense asks for 8 years. I'm sentencing you to 18 years in state prison. No possibility of parole before serving at least 12 years. Additionally, you will pay full restitution, the $520,000 stolen, plus $200,000 in legal fees and damages. Total $720,000. If you cannot pay, your assets will be seized and sold. Robert's lawyer objected. Judge Davis overruled. Sentence stood. Sharon Miller, Judge Davis said. You were the architect of this scheme. You planned it. You coordinated it. You researched the medications. You set the timeline. You gave the orders. Sharon stood there, face red, crying. The state recommends 12 years. The defense asks for 5. I'm sentencing you to 16 years. No parole before 10 years served. Full restitution of $720,000. Brittany got 4 years. The judge took the plea deal. She'd be out in 2 with good behavior, but her felony record would follow her forever. The dental office fired her. Career over. The financial consequences hit fast. Robert's house was seized, sold at auction. His cars taken, his boat, everything liquidated. Sharon's boutique closed, assets frozen, inventory sold, property seized. Between them, they recovered about $260,000. Not nearly enough. But the bank's fraud protection covered another $200,000. That still left us about $60,000 short of the stolen money, and that didn't even touch legal fees and damages, but it was enough to rebuild. Losing their reputation hurt them more than losing the money. Robert lost everything. Everyone knew what he'd done. Sharon became toxic. Her friends dropped her. The family members who defended them went quiet. Grandma Helen restructured everything. Sold the rental property, put all proceeds in a trust managed by Dad and Aunt Susan. Professional oversight, regular audits. Nobody could touch it without multiple approvals. She hired a new caregiver. Laura, 52, former nurse. Moved into the guest room. Kept detailed logs, medication times, visitors, everything documented. She changed her will. Everything split between me, Dad, and Sarah. Robert got nothing. Brittany got nothing. Sharon explicitly excluded with language that made sure she couldn't contest it, even if Robert passed first. We visited every Sunday, me and Chloe, Mom and Dad, made sure she was safe, made sure Laura was treating her right, made sure nobody tried to manipulate her again. 3 months after sentencing, Dad asked to meet me for lunch, a diner near my work. We ordered. Finally, he put down his coffee. I need to tell you something, he said. About that night, about Robert. Okay. When you called the police, when you said he was harming Mom, I didn't believe you. I thought you were overreacting. Thought there must be some explanation. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a grief I hadn't seen before. I chose to believe my brother over my son. You were in shock. No, that's an excuse. The truth is, I've spent my whole life making excuses for Robert. He was the oldest, the favorite, the responsible one. And I was just Michael, the younger brother who never measured up. So when you said he was a monster, my first instinct was to protect him, to defend him. Because if Robert was that bad, what did that say about me for always being in his shadow? Dad. Let me finish. He grabbed my hand across the table. You saved my mother's life. You did what I should have done. You believed the evidence over family loyalty, and I fought you on it. I made you question yourself when you were doing the right thing. He paused, squeezing my hand tight. I'm sorry. I should have believed you immediately. Should have trusted you. Should have protected you instead of protecting him. We're good, I said, a lump in my throat. Are we? Because I keep thinking about what would have happened if you'd listened to me. If you'd backed down, if you'd convinced yourself it was nothing. Mom would be gone. Robert would have gotten away with it. And I'd have helped him do it by making you doubt yourself. But that didn't happen, I said. I didn't back down. And Grandma's alive because of you, not because of me. We ate in silence for a while. Then Dad spoke again. Your mom and I are going to make sure this never happens again. We've set up the trust. We're doing weekly check-ins with Laura. We're keeping detailed records. And if anyone ever tries anything like this, we'll act immediately. No hesitation. No family loyalty over safety. Good. And I want you to know, he said, his gaze firm, if there's ever a situation where you see something wrong, where you think someone's being hurt, I'll believe you first, without question. You've earned that. I nodded. Didn't know what to say. We finished lunch, went our separate ways, but something had shifted. Dad had finally let go of the image of Robert as the good son. Had finally seen what was real instead of what he wanted to believe. 6 months after sentencing, my phone rang at work. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello, Daniel. It's Sharon. You're in prison. I'm calling from prison. Her voice was different, harder, stripped of its false concern. I've been thinking about you, about what you did. How you better hope people forget eventually. Is that a threat? It's a reminder. Things change. Situations evolve. You'd be surprised how many ways life can circle back. I hung up. Called Detective Hayes immediately. Prison calls are recorded, she said when I explained. I'll get the tape. File charges for witness intimidation. This is serious. Can she actually get to us? Not if I have anything to say about it. This call just extended her sentence and gave us grounds for a permanent restraining order. Hayes filed the new charge that afternoon. Because Sharon was already incarcerated, the case moved fast. Recorded call, clear threat, no ambiguity. Within a few weeks, Sharon took a plea on witness intimidation to avoid a separate trial, and the judge added 2 years, now 18 total. Parole eligibility pushed from 10 years to 12. A permanent restraining order was issued and the court added a strict no-contact condition to any future parole. If she ever came within 500 feet of us, she'd be arrested immediately. New felony charge and a parole violation on top of it. Chloe and I got the notification a week later. The additional sentence, the order, the protection. Life moved forward. Grandma Helen recovered, started going to her book club again. We celebrated her 86th birthday. Small party, 20 people, no drama, no police, no ambulances. Grandma stood up to make a toast. raised her glass of sparkling cider. To Daniel and Chloe, she said, who saw evil and didn't look away. Who acted when everyone else would have stayed quiet. Who saved my life and gave me these extra years. We drank. Later that night, just the four of us on the porch. Grandma grabbed my hand. You know what the hardest part is? She said. What? I still love him, Robert. He's still my son. And knowing what he did, knowing he tried to end my life, that doesn't make the love go away. It just makes it hurt worse. I know, but I'll never forgive him. Never speak to him again. He's dead to me now. Not because I hate him, but because loving him would mean excusing what he did, and I can't do that. You don't have to. She squeezed my hand. You did something most people can't do. You chose right over easy. You chose a vulnerable person over family peace. That takes courage. Don't ever doubt that. Chloe leaned against my shoulder. We sat there as the sun set, quiet together. Inside the house, through the window, I could see Laura logging medication times. Dad and Mom in the kitchen, the trust documents locked upstairs, restraining orders active. Robert was in prison. Sharon was in. The money was partially recovered. The family was split and wouldn't heal. But Grandma was alive, protected, safe. We'd done that. Not the system, not luck, not chance. Us. We'd seen it, acted, pushed through, made the hard call, and when it was over, when the dust settled, we were still standing. That was enough. How do you find peace after family becomes the monster?